How's it going, everybody? Jacob Rothenberg here, and on this week's podcast, we have Spencer Cornelia. How you doing, man?
We were both in the 702, representing Vegas.
Yeah, we're both here in Vegas. I didn't know that you were in Vegas until earlier this week, and I'll explain how I first actually got to know your brand. But yeah, we're here, and you are a YouTuber that talks about the make money online niche and discusses different online gurus within the space. So I'm really actually happy and enthusiastic to have you on the channel.
Yeah, man, thanks. You know what's great about this niche is it started with kind of these internet marketing gurus, but then when you get deep into it, you start realizing there's scammers everywhere. People are asking about, hey, why don't you touch on this topic? I'm like, I haven't even gotten into the fitness industry, which I know you're a part of. Let's get into the bodybuilding. I mean, that's a whole channel in and of itself of the fake natties. So then you have that, you have the day traders. I mean, this channel can go on for years with content.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already thinking like fake natties is just like the tip of the iceberg. I'm more triggered by like the Instagrammers that don't have any credentials that sell programs, but that's another topic. The reason why I decided to bring you on because you made a very interesting video based on an ad critique of the Mickelson Twins and their online marketing campaign. And I'll link that below in the description of this video for anyone that's interested in seeing that. But how did you come across that ad and what were your honest overall impressions of their marketing campaign?
I couldn't help it. It just went on my YouTube. I had no choice. So I screen record those type of ads. And so I kept getting it. And I was like, man, some people have been asking in the comments about the Mickelson Twins. I figured, you know, the ad critique videos, no one's doing them. And I thought it'd just be an interesting video idea. And so I just started doing it. And the Mickelson Twins people were asking about them. So that's why I chose them. I had a list of like 40 ads saved. I actually didn't mind some of the stuff they did in their advertising. I try not to comment. I try to differentiate. So some videos I make where it's like, let's look into this guy's business practices, his claims, all of that. And then the ad critiques is just, a lot of it is me learning because I'd love to run ads one day if I ever get to a point of needing to run ads. So it's part of it is me learning the process of copywriting and advertising. So that video wasn't so much aimed at let's critique the Mickelson Twins. It's more at let's look at this ad as an individual unit. And from it, I didn't mind it. They actually implemented a really interesting tactic that I had never seen before in ads. I don't know if you remember it specifically, but it was kind of the hypnosis.
The NLP results.
Yeah, where you flash the testimonials on one side and you're like, while you're looking at this, and then he speaks quickly to like try to speak to your subconscious as your attention's diverted away. I thought that was fascinating. Now, there was a lot I didn't like. There wasn't much credibility in their ad, which if I'm receiving an ad for the first time by someone I'm not familiar with, I think credibility is probably the first thing you should bring about. Like, here's why you should listen to me. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as their brand, I think that they're great marketers. As far as the actual content of their course and what results it brings legitimately with white hat tactics as of right now, that's for the people to decide. I mean, I have my own opinion. It's clearly presented on my channel, but instead of like just giving my biased opinion, because I'm in the same industry, let the people say what they want to say about what's actually giving value versus what's a ripoff. So what I wanted to ask you is, why did you get started? How did you get started with calling out online gurus? Like, what led you to start this whole brand?
Last August or September, I was making videos already, and I was making videos about real estate related stuff because that's kind of my thing. And around that time, I was struggling with real estate, so I didn't really have much to talk about with real estate. But I did notice that there's these seminars, the Flip or Flop show you may have heard of. It's very popular on HGTV. I really do not like the way that they advertise and market kind of the idea of flipping houses.
Not that easy.
No. There's so much wrong with that show. And so I made a video about that. So it was in that moment, it was kind of coming from this place of let's critique. And at that time, I run a meetup here in Las Vegas for real estate investors, reasonably popular, probably one of the more popular real estate meetups. And I noticed that a lot of beginners, it felt like they didn't really know where to go. They didn't know who to follow. And I noticed that in real estate specifically, everyone has advice. You know, if you've done a couple deals, everyone loves to give their advice unsolicited. And so around that time, I was thinking, how can I come up with a way to figure out who should people follow? That was in the back of my mind. Like, how can I come up with some type of system to say, hey, you should follow this advice or that advice? And it happened at that same time. I came across a video by CoffeeZilla, who I'd never heard of, about Dan Lok. And it was called Fake Guru Fridays. And then, of course, I see some more videos on it, and I'm just going, man, I'm hooked. And so it was a accumulation of the mindset of, let's look at some gurus. I see his, and then go, let's look at these gurus and let's do a deep dive into who exactly they are. All these people talk about all these successful businesses. I'm curious, what is their business? What businesses do they run? I'm very fascinated. And what happened is it turned into this whole series. It's kind of taken off.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting. I've actually been doing online marketing since I was a teenager as a side hobby. But, you know, I'll admit, for the past 3 years, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I thought that Dan Lok was legitimate. He charmed me in. He sucked me into his channel. I'll admit, on his YouTube channel, he gives some great free advice. And it's past the motivational rah-rah. I like the actionable stuff. But, you know, over time, you realize not everything seems as it is. And I think people are realizing is that these online gurus, online marketers are either highly leveraged or they do make a lot of money, but it's honestly not going to be a sustainable way of making income and making an everlasting brand that continually brings in money. I mean, case in point, you've probably seen what happened with Grant Cardone. I mean, yeah, COVID affected a lot of things, but in truth, he was over leveraged with his properties, and he's definitely taking a hard hit.
Yeah. Well, what's sad is a lot of them do actually make money. They just do. I can't critique how much money they make. Dan Lok specifically. These guys make a bunch of money. Now, is it sustainable? I don't know. They also never talk about their expenses. They never talk about their ad budgets. They run a lot of ads. A lot of these guys got the big YouTube following by running a lot of ads. So most of these guys, it's not quite as it seems. And that's part of what I want to promote on YouTube. I want to promote authenticity. I want to promote transparency, because to me, it helps the next generation when people can see how it really is, right? I don't want to promote a business as easy and fun and this is amazing. Even if I'm making $1 million a year someday, I don't want to be like, oh, this was so easy, it's fun. No, like, understand that if you want to get in my position, you're going to have to block out these 5 things in life. No girlfriend, no family, no this, no that, no traveling for 5 years. And then you might have a chance if you're lucky, right? No one wants to hear that. So a lot of these guys, I think, by withholding a lot of the real information, they're doing a disservice to the next generation. And that's partially why I go so hard on them. I just don't like that there's a lot of people that are looking to advance in life. They want to get better in life. They want to advance their income potential. And they're hearing from these gurus and they just don't know the truth. And it's leading to, in my opinion, a lot of mental health issues where you're not succeeding on day 27, therefore you're a failure.
Yeah, I think setting proper expectations in this kind of industry with make money online is what's really needed, even beyond regulation. One thing that I like to tell clients or people that even just buy my $47 course is that there is a chance you won't make money. Hardly everyone succeeds. Very few people actually succeed making a full-time income, as rare as that is. And so something that I do for like higher ticket stuff, I do use hard disqualifiers. So if you don't have an existing channel of income, if you're not making at least 6 figures, and you acknowledge that this won't make any money for at least 6 months, and it won't really cash flow until a year in, if you're good for that, let's roll together. But yeah, I don't think I've just seen so many of these ads where they say you can make $100,000 a year, your first year, and just work 2 to 3 hours a week and develop this passive online business.
Yeah, so many buzzwords there that they use. Passive income, very even numbers on a, is the word exponential on 10? There's like a base 10 exponential. There's like a certain statistical word you use where it's, 10, 100,000, a million, right? It's like, it's very even. It's not, you'll make 12,500. Everyone either makes 10K a month, 50K a month, or 100K a month,
Yeah.
It's works out kind of interestingly.
I think the best part is when people are saying they make 5 figures a month and it's like just at 10,000.
Right. Yeah. It's all marketing, which I'm okay with. Most marketing I'm okay with. Like, part of marketing is embellishing a little bit. as long as you talk about the truth, you bring about the expenses. And I really like hard disqualifiers. I think that works on both sides. I couldn't imagine wanting to sell a low income product, a low ticket product and having to deal with, like, if I wanted to help people go from 0 to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I couldn't imagine help the person that's desperate. Like it just wouldn't be a good fit.
You know, and honestly, as someone in this industry, I'll tell you, desperate clients are not the clients that you want. You
Yeah.
want clients that are already doing well, that are level-headed, and realize the risks because they're the most reasonable people to work with, and they're the ones most likely to be positioned for success because they know what they will likely be up against.
Yeah, I used to sell season tickets for the Houston Rockets, the NBA team. And I'll tell you, the easiest phone call I ever had, I sold $34,000 worth of season tickets. And it was a doctor. The guy called in about 8 minutes, was just like, this is exactly what I want. Here's my budget. Give me the best tickets available. All right, I got them. Okay, here's my card info. Nothing. Okay, thanks. Email me. Thanks. Bye. Right. But then if you try to sell the upper bowl, what would be, the upper deck area, when you get into that $600 a year for a season ticket, that's when the people, hey, can you give me an autographed James Harden jersey? I'm buying season tickets. Can I get parking passes? It's like, you don't understand. You need to spend 10 grand on a ticket, not 600. Like, they were the people that were always asking, always emailing.
Yeah, and going back to your channel, what I really like and appreciate about your brand is that you stay objective, you're relatively neutral, and you give everyone a fair shake when it comes to how you assess them. And not every no, very few of your videos hold people in a negative connotation. For instance, today you uploaded a great video on Mr. Beast. It was all positive and gave great takeaways on why after years of persistence, he's succeeding and has become the YouTuber celebrity that he is. I love that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, cliche alert. I do like to treat people how you'd like to be treated. I don't like the idea of getting on videos. Look, I could get millions of views if I got on video and started calling people fraudsters, scammers, made it entertaining. You can do that, but it's not long-term. That's not a long-term strategy. You don't really gain much respect. I mean, you can get respect in the short term. Like, I hope he doesn't call me out, but long-term, that's not building a brand. To me, it's all about fairness. I'm going to evaluate you fairly because you deserve it. Even if you're a scammer, you absolutely still deserve due process. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I love what you've just said because I will admit that I've called people fraudsters on my own YouTube channel. And yeah, of course, it's going to give that short-term spike, even though it can be 100% rightfully justified and deserved, it's not going to cement a brand, and people do get a little bit fatigued of
Yes.
the toxicity that you're doing. Even if it's completely justified, it still sets a negative tone.
Yeah. So here's the
So
way I view it. Let's say if every video is about, let me expose, there's an expose element. Every single video, in my opinion, and this is not true. I know this is not true in reality, but to me, what would kill me the most is if I came out and said, Jacob's a scammer. He sold a product and didn't deliver it. And then 8 months later, you email me and just say, hey man, that actually isn't true. Here's the proof. And I'm wrong. That would eat me alive because that's not fair to you that maybe 3,800 people watched that video and now their perception of you is incorrect. And I really don't like that. It's the same with me. I could care less. People can make videos calling me frauds. I don't care. I don't care what people have to say about me. I do is if you say something incorrectly. If you come out and say he doesn't do real estate deals or something, and I say, actually, that's factually incorrect. That's where it would bother me because now people have the wrong perception of me. You can say opinions all you want. Maybe you don't like me. You don't find me funny, whatever. Or you don't think I'm intelligent. I could care less about that. It's the factually incorrect and people's perception of me. That's what I care about most. So that's what I try to do with others. I try to be very fair. I try to stick to only what they say or facts from news stories. I try not to input my opinion as much. There are sometimes when I do, but I try to limit that as much as I can.
yeah, and aside from being, morally crushed with defaming someone, as it implicates also holds you very legally liable for and
Yes.
can be sued for damages.
Yep.
So that's definitely something that we want to avoid whenever we're calling out people on social media.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I've been watching your channel. I actually came across your channel not because of any YouTuber that you've talked about because you talked about a multiplex real estate deal in Vegas, and I am actually pending to receive my real estate license. I passed the exams. Do you have your license?
In Ohio, I
Oh, in
do.
Ohio. So you just have to take the Nevada state exam and you're good.
No, I have nothing in Nevada. I took national and state in Ohio. I flew up and took it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the Nevada one's pretty easy. But yeah, so I've sold off my prop. I'm in the process of closing my property in Cali for in 10 days. And I'm looking to transfer that cash into some investments that I can rent out, all cash. I don't want to leverage any debt. And I was thinking about buying a multiplex, but after watching your video, you're shaking your head. Why is a multiplex not a good investment?
I'd first need to know a lot more about you and your goals before I try and input my opinion.
Sure.
On the surface, I would not advise a single soul to ever buy a multifamily in Las Vegas right now. I think it is a terrible investment. And if your goal is to actually make money, I could handwrite 1,000 ways to make more money than a multifamily in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, and specific to Las Vegas, there's going to be a large calamity in the market once federal aid is done with and people can't pay their rents and they will be able to be evicted. So I'm waiting for that as well.
Yeah, I bought my property for $260,000. I sold it for $310. It was a cash offer. I had a backup offer of $325. So it was right around there. It was worth about $330 roughly. I was so nervous going to closing when I was selling it to the guy who was buying it for $310 because I thought I got such a steal that I was nervous he'd back out when he realized how terrible the property was. When it closed, I was like, huge amount of luck. And he bought it under market too. Those things are selling for I saw a fourplex the other day. Someone was trying to sell it for like $350 on $2,000 a month in rent. Terrible. Come to Ohio. If you have money and want to invest, come to Ohio. I'll show you way better deals.
Okay, Ohio. How about Texas?
Texas, and there's deals everywhere. Just stay away from multifamily in Las Vegas. The appreciation's already been made. Here's the thing. If they're selling for $350, the only thing that could keep pushing them higher is if rents go up. Unless you want your yield to go lower. If you're just trying to park money to save money on taxes, you do whatever you want to do. But in Las Vegas, you could for $350,000, you'd be better off going to Dayton, Ohio, and buying 10 single-family houses that brings in $6,000 a month in rent instead of $2,300 in Vegas.
I can do that.
Yeah, if you're buying cash, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I could connect. I mean, I could connect. I have connections all over. So if you look at any market, let me know, and I can probably connect.
Is your Ohio license still valid?
It is, yeah.
So can I? Oh yeah, you don't have any listings. That's the thing. Well, we'll figure it out, and we'll figure out.
I'm an agent, but I'm not an agent. I wouldn't even try to help you. I would direct you to an expert.
Okay, fair enough, man. Yeah. Appreciate that. And yeah, even when I go on Loopnet, like sometimes I see NOIs of 7%, but like what they don't mention is that these properties are 50 years old and it's probably dilapidated at this point.
Yeah. Loopnet is the single, I'm not going to say man or woman because it goes both ways. It's the person at the bar at 3:30 when everyone's already passed on everyone else. That's Loopnet. When you have the person by the bar all by themselves because they struck out with everyone else, that's Loopnet. All the investors have already seen it. They don't want it. All the new investors don't want it. So it's like, we'll put it on Loopnet.
Yeah, and even Grant Cardone says that the best way to come across multiplexes, I think you mentioned this in your video, is to just make some calls to owners and see what you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but it depends on your strategy. It depends on what returns you want, what risk you want. Sounds like you're buying cash, so you can make cash offers and maybe get 10% discount. Up to you. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. If you are interested, we'll connect after this, and I have our next meetup's on Sunday. So if you want to come and meet some actual investors here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, sure. My property closes on the 15th and I'll have a lot more cash on me. But yeah, I'll definitely talk to you about that afterwards.
Yeah, there's people here that have done a lot of deals. So I can connect you. If you're interested in this market, because I don't really know this market that well. So I can link you with them.
For sure. Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. But going back to you, where do you see your channel going within like a year if you have a direction or objective you want to take it within a year?
I actually don't really set goals. I'm one of the few people that don't. Everything changed with me when I did my first 2 flips in Ohio. I lost my tail I lost everything. I had all these ambitious goals. I used to set goals 1, 2, 3, 5 years out. Then I realized all it takes is one single event and everything comes crashing down. So to me, I don't like setting goals. For me, it's all about in the next month, can I continue putting effort towards these things. And for me right now, it's continue at the pace I'm doing, I'm rehabbing my house, the house I live in. So make the right decisions as far as rehabbing my house, managing my tenants, and do YouTube videos. That's all that I care about. I mean, sure, I'd love some vanity metrics. If I hit 100K by next year, that'd be great. But I have no control over that. The only thing I can control, continue to make the videos that the audience wants. At this pace, it's pretty clear that the videos I'm making, people seem to like. So as long as I continue to put in the work, I continue to edit, continue to upload at the same pace I'm doing. That's all I can control. And I'll let things fall as they may.
Yeah, and I can tell you this as a viewer of your channel myself, you're doing all the right things to propel your momentum. I've seen your subscriber base grow, and it's growing rapidly. And even when I made a single comment on your Mike the Skill video, just, saying, haha, that intro was crazy good. I had a few people PM me and say, hey, I saw your comment on Spencer's channel. I know Mike the Skill. I'm like, oh shit. So there's definitely a lot of eyeballs on you. You probably don't realize the full extent to which that is. And I know your channel is going to explode. So I had to make sure I could secure an interview with you while you're still not super famous.
Yeah, I hope so. What's going to be tough right now, I'm the type of person where if someone enjoys my stuff and they reach out, I'm going to respond. I just don't like the idea of not responding. But what's going to be really challenging is when my job returns. I'm currently furloughed. Right. And it's going to be, I haven't reached a point where I can say no, and I'm not comfortable saying no. I've had to do it a few times, but like at some point I'm just not going to have time for anything, regardless of if I like your channel, don't like your channel, whatever. And so it's going to be really tough when that moment comes where I'm just going to have to basically say no to everyone.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, transparently in your July income report, you're making, I think, approximately an average of $250 a day with YouTube.
Yeah. I made 6,400 last month. So what is that? It's like 210 a day.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah. It's somewhere in that, but it varies. I mean, some days I've gotten up to like 330 and then some days 200. And so it's been nice though. It's been consistent.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, myself included, would consider that a really good income to make off YouTube. So thus that presents the obvious question, why would you return back to a day job?
Real estate, baby. The loan officers do not care for borrowers without a W-2. And so right now I'm on what's called a lease purchase agreement. Are you familiar with that term?
Yeah.
Commonly known as a rent to own kind of. And
Yes.
So I'm under contract to purchase my house. However, I can't acquire a loan until I go back to work. And so I will go back to work in order to acquire the loan in order to purchase my house. And then I'll probably stick to the job for 3 or 4, maybe up to 6 months, accumulate cash, try to sit through the market. There's still a little unease and volatility. I like the idea of having a W-2 because once I quit the W-2, it's over and it's never coming back. I've always been employee minded. I've always been comfortable. I thrive under stability. And so when my job comes back, that will allow me to have as much income as I can, be able to ride out any volatility that might come with the election or the continued pandemic. And so for me, it'd be a hedge against my risks. I'd be making a lot of money outside of my job, but it would at least allow me the ability to start figuring out what I want to do with real estate next. And if you're familiar with the idea of renting a property and then refinancing it and holding it, you're going to need a W-2 to do that. And so I've teamed up with a guy up in Cincinnati. My next deals will be with him. And I'd like to keep the door open for the ability to refinance in case something goes wrong with the flip.
That's a very mature strategy and something that I probably should have done in hindsight, because as someone that has bought and sold personal properties, the moment I didn't have my job income and I was having to show what I've made with my business, and then I'm doing, things legally with ways to avoid taxes, it's like, oh, well, you're only making officially this much income and you can't really show this.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, okay, so I'm going to have to get creative here. So yeah, definitely having a stable source of income like a job will help you out a lot when you're applying for loans and other things for refinancing. So totally agree with you there, man.
Yeah, and I'm in a position, I'm single, no kids. I don't have a social life. I don't need one right now. It's all about the next 5 years of grind. And so I can do the job. I've got tenants and YouTube, and I can start stacking cash, move that into real estate, get the real estate to a position where I don't need as much cash. And at that point is when I can leave my job. Okay. When I can use other people's money. That's when the shift will happen.
Awesome, bro. And how old are you?
29.
29. I'm 32. Okay. So, I mean, you'll feel this when you're probably feeling this. You want to be able to, as you said, have an environment where you're sustained, you have stability, and you have real estate to fall back on, and essentially somewhat retire, semi-retire, and not have to worry about paying the bills day to day. So that's very mature of you. That said, I actually do know a girl in Vegas that watches your channel and wants to ask you out on a date, but I'll probably mention that some other time. Don't want to ruin your financial future. So that being said, like, do you think there will honestly be more regulations when it comes to like all these online gurus and like the FTC ever cracking down? That's my main frustration in this industry. Like there are things that I know are blatantly BS, but what steps can we take to have any kinds of repercussions done?
Yeah, this is a great conversation to have. And I must start by saying I'm not some expert. I don't have some inside expert. This is just all opinion.
Yeah.
But let's have fun with it. Okay, so one thing I try to do on my channel too is I try to bring about other ways that you can get scammed. This, if you're familiar, there was a video I released about online dating. And so that's obviously nothing to do with internet marketers, but I kind of wanted, the point is to show that it can happen everywhere if you're not careful. And additionally with that video, I wanted to show that in our space, we take it seriously, these $2,000 courses, but understand that there are scams out there that are multi-million-dollar scams. And we're talking about actual scams, the one that governments need to get involved. And so unfortunately, in our world, we take it seriously, these internet marketing gurus. But when you take a step out of our world, it doesn't matter. These internet marketers are a pinprick compared to the scams globally. I mean, we're talking about, I mean, think of Bernie Madoff.
Yes, that was on
I mean, dude, we're talking about, does Dan Lok matter when they have people like Bernie Madoff? I mean, right now there's probably 10 people that are scamming millions of dollars of worth out of victims. Those are, people are where the resources will go. And so my real answer is the Dan Loks of the world, the Kevin Davids, where it's like quasi, they kind of use some unethical ways to sell. Maybe they don't say really exactly who they are. What are they really doing wrong, right? To us, they're still delivering a product. To us, we go, the product is crap. It should be half price, or they shouldn't use these certain marketing devices in order to sell. But if you're the FTC, you just look at that and go, okay, consumers, like, this is not that big of a deal. We need to spend all of our resources on the Bernie Madoffs. And so unfortunately, I don't see anything happening. And that's why I think our best chance is awareness. That is my goal. That is why I'm objective. That is why I do not look to attack people. I simply want to help educate the consumers, because myself, I would never buy a course from a scammer because I have the eyes and I know what to look for. And I kind of know how to evaluate these people. So I'd like to bring that education and put it out there in the world, such that, you know, maybe I get to a point where I have 1 million subscribers. And when I make a video, it's like, oh, I hope it's not me. Like, I want gurus to go wake up in the morning, look at my channel and hope that the next series isn't about them. That, I think, is when you get change. I'm very thankful that I've received emails. I've seen comments where people say, thank you. I was about to buy the product, but I realized it wasn't for me because of your videos. So on a very small scale, it's already happening. And that's with 40,000 subscribers. And with YouTube, things become exponential. And so 40,000 subscribers is great, but 80,000 isn't linear. When you start reaching 80, 120, 250, 500, the growth goes exponentially. And so my goal is hopefully within the next 3 or 4 years, CoffeeZilla, myself, Tom Nash, Mike Winnett, all of these guys who are kind of making the similar videos, we get to a point where we're really educating a lot of people, and people come to us first. They say, hey, I really like this course by this person. Oh, CoffeeZilla's made a video on them. Well, let me check that out first. That is where I think it can stop.
Yeah, that's a great outlook. And I was about to call you a vigilante, jokingly, but you're not Batman. I think it's more like a measuring stick to assess, is this online personality, is this course creator someone that's delivering a valid product? And if so, you'll rationalize why or why not. And people can decide for themselves, if they want to go ahead with purchasing said product. So
100%. I talked about the webinar from Ariella Iorio and Wesley Virgin. I can't stand the two. I can't stand the way they did the webinar. However, there is proof that at least one student made money using the product, made more money than the product cost. So that, for me, that means I cannot make a video calling them scammers and saying, don't buy their product. That's what I try not to do, because as long as one person's done it, that means it's possible. And so my point is just bringing about, hey, this is how they're doing it. if you want to buy the product, as long as you're aware of how they're selling you and what exactly you're receiving in return for your $1,000, go buy the product. That does not bother me. But it bothers me when you have a lot of unaware consumers and they're being manipulated using manipulative sales tactics. That's where the problem lies.
Yeah, and I know this firsthand in the make money online industry. Look, no one has a 100% success rate with their courses or programs. I have clients that failed under my supervision and under my guidance. I have to own up to that. That said, I think everyone in the online course community with the course has had at least one student succeed. So I like the fact that you're not calling people scammers, but rather focusing on their marketing tactics, which can be deceitful or entirely unethical, which I think is more objective and more fair.
Of course, yeah. I'm very engineer minded. And so everything all my decisions follow a flow chart. And when one person succeeds, in my opinion, you cannot label them a scam. Now you can mention scammy elements. You can say, hey, they're promoting 100,000 a year revenue and all of their students are only making 40,000. Well, that's a little scammy because they're not delivering what is promised, but that doesn't really make them a scam. If the course costs 10,000 and their students are making 20, I can't sit here and call them a scam because it's not. But I will talk about, hey, this is unethical how you're selling. Let's just change those words a little bit. And now all of a sudden, in my opinion, most of these gurus, if they just change their marketing a little bit, I'd have no problem with them. I would still call them out if there's, I ran all these businesses and you really didn't. I'm still going to call them out. But most of them, if they just came out and said, hey, look, this is really flipping hard. I'm going to charge $1,000 because I need to charge that in order to make money on my advertising spend. Here's what's expected. 20% of my students succeed. 40% don't even open the course, and then the other 40% try and only make their money back or whatever. That would be way better because then students at least know going in what they're getting into.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my head, with multi-level marketing and MLMs, they're legally having to disclose their I guess, clients or sponsors' results. And even though they're transparent about that, they still use marketing tactics that portray joining as a road to certain success.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's a whole other topic. I don't want to diverge too much to MLMs, but yeah, I think this could go on forever. And as you've said, you're only touching so far the tip of the iceberg compared to other industries where deceit does exist. So at this point, I'd say, is there anything else you'd want to mention to anyone listening with publishing or anyone in the make money online niche?
Good luck.
Good luck to you. Do your homework, do your research. Just type in I tell anyone this, type in someone's name on Google and put scam afterwards. So put in Jacob Rothenberg scam, see what comes up. If you want to learn more about Spencer, put up Spencer Cornelia scam and see what comes up. And
I will say what's difficult about that, though, a lot of these internet marketers, they use SEO practices and then they get all their affiliates to make the reviews that are not, they do the honest review. And then at the end, it's an affiliate link. It's like, oh yeah, you're literally motivated to speak highly of this and why people should buy it. That's what's really tricky about some of these guys is you don't get honest reviews.
There's that, and if there are negative reviews, they'll use DMCA takedown requests, which I find really scummy, but such is life. But sometimes you'll find a piece or two, and even in publishing, that certainly applies. So.
Yeah, what's tough about reviews, though, is you're going to have people who have bad experiences, right? Like, there's certain restaurants that are just 5-star. I could care less what the Karen experienced, right? It's just 5-star. You have the top, years, decades of the top of the line chefs. You have, in that industry, you have the smartest people making the best dishes. It's a 5-star restaurant. And then people will go and just on that night, their waiter wasn't feeling it. Or the food just happened. They accidentally wrote down the wrong dish, just whatever. That person then is like, oh, this isn't 5-star. I'm going to let them know. So they're going to go on Yelp and write the 1-star review. That's why I struggle to promote review sites. Because I think you get the extremes and you don't get the honest reviews.
That's certainly true, especially on Yelp. Whenever you're looking for reviews, there are oftentimes the extreme cases of 1-star reviews pointing out rare occurrences. So.
Exactly. And that it's the loud minority magnified.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if you had a pretty good time, you just walk in, okay, it was pretty good. On to the next one. right? You're not going to go on Yelp. You're going to go on Yelp to do 5-star because you know them, or 5-star because you loved it, or 1-star because you hated it. And you need to just let the world know how bad your experience was. So you get the polarizing extremes.
Yeah, with most actions in life, sometimes you need to be emotionally charged to get things done.
Yes, that's true.
So
True.
that's certainly true. So I know we could keep going, but I think that we should probably wrap it up here. And if anyone wants to learn more about Spencer, I'm going to link you all to his YouTube channel below. Definitely check out all of his videos if you haven't already. And I'm sure your brand is going to exponentially grow within this calendar year, I'm sure.
Yeah, it already is. If you look at the chart. Yeah, I'm very thankful.
Yeah, awesome, man. So I'll actually be talking to you after this, and we'll all see you later. Take care.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you.